I'm always for Nintendo releasing new entries into their B or C tier franchises, and so Endless Ocean Luminous is a game I want to support wholeheartedly, despite never actually playing either of the previous entries. After looking into the previous games, I was intrigued, especially the second one, which was apparently quite a fun adventure game. Unfortunately, Endless Ocean Luminous goes in a different direction, and while I can appreciate what it was trying to do, I am not sure it really hits the mark. While the previous games were very single-player focused experiences, the first one designed around the player's freedom to explore and the second one more focused on telling a gripping narrative, this new entry decides to go all in on the multiplayer aspect, pitching itself around 30-player diving sessions with both friends and strangers. This should be no surprise given Eureka, the developer's entire focus with Nintendo this last generation has been around providing big online multiplayer titles. Endless Ocean is the latest in that line, but the likes of Tetris 99 and Super Mario 35, when it was around, are free as long as you pay for Nintendo Switch Online. Endless Ocean Luminous isn't, and this greatly changes how I view this game's structure. If the player is not paying for NSO and can only play this game in solo mode, then I think that they'll get bored very quickly. The single player campaign feels incredibly tacked on, with 1/3 basically amounting to a glorified tutorial, and the other 2/3 being monotonous dives that might occasionally give the player a unique species of fish to scan. Given how progression in the story mode is also tied to progression in the freediving mode, with the final chapter of the story mode requiring the player to have completed the 99 mystery board, the player will be forced to spend most of their time in the general dives, where they have 1 hour to swim across a procedurally generated sea in the thickest sea fog you ever did see. In a sense, the procedural generation of the sea means that the ocean is truly endless, as every dive will take you to a new location. But this is only the case on paper. In practice, it's more like the developers created several set biomes in the shape of squares or rectangles and spawn a set amount of them into the world, usually based around a random theme like the Ancient Sea or Arctic Sea. What this unfortunately means is that after about 6 to 8 dives, the player will have seen pretty much everything this game has to offer in terms of exploration. It also means hunting for specific fish or scavenge is quite difficult, because you have no idea what biome you'll receive when the game starts, or if that fish will even show up there. Unlike previous titles, the player won't get any upgrades to the gameplay as they progress. The only upgrades players get are cosmetic, like colours and stickers for the diving suits, and new emotes to communicate with other players. And these are expensive. If a player wanted to unlock everything, I imagine they would need to play this game daily for an entire year. Any player would have long found every fish in the game by that point, so realistically, you'd only be playing for the vibes of being under the sea. And in this game's defense, those are some good vibes. What kept me playing Endless Ocean Luminous over and over again for an hour every other day was just because it's a simple and relaxing diving game. Slap on a podcast or YouTube video to play in my peripheral vision and just go diving for an hour to see if I could find any new fish for my log. I would snap photos of every fish I found, often accidentally saving them to my system rather than the in-game logbook, and perform research tasks as I explored the map, hoping whatever UML shows up, those are the super rare fish with only 1 of 10 showing up in each dive, is one that I didn't have a picture of already. I would also just play with strangers a lot, and we would work together to mark treasure and rare fish on the map. It was relaxing and a great way to wind down at the end of the day. I also played with several friends, not a whole squad of 30, but a pretty large group, and that was a lot of fun as we were sharing discoveries with each other and trying to solve the game's few secret puzzles as a team. 13 minds are better than 1, as they say. It was from playing this session that it was clear that this is how the developers had envisioned the gameplay experience of Endless Ocean Luminous to be. But I have a feeling that the majority of players won't be so lucky. In all my dives with random players online, I never hit 30 players. In fact, I think at most, I probably swam with about 6 or 7, which is enough to fill out the map and get the cooperation bonus, but not really enough where you'd actually be diving and swimming together. Also, the focus on online just doesn't excuse the weak single player content. Plus, even though I didn't actually play the previous Endless Ocean games before this one, I can't help but feel like this game is a step back. I've seen a lot of videos and listened to the soundtrack of prior games, and they both feel bigger and more ambitious in scope. Luminous just feels like a watered down version of the original. Yeah, there is a larger variety of fish and collectibles in this game, but the gameplay loop can only hold my attention for so long, and I think I'm more patient than most other players out there will be. So, nautical mileage will vary with Endless Ocean Luminous. If you are the type of player who likes simple games and just wants something to play as a relaxing experience, then you will probably enjoy Luminous, as long as you have NSO anyway. But if you are a player that needs more than that, then I don't think Endless Ocean Luminous will be able to provide it. It's not a C+, it's just a C. I want to thank Nintendo for sending us a copy of this game to review. I hope it has done them well, despite how I feel kind of blasé about this game. I would like to see another attempt at Endless Ocean that's a bit more story focused in the future, so I hope this series doesn't go away. I want to thank all of our patrons. The $5 plus tier will be appearing on screen right now, and you can join them by going down to the description below or clicking the button on screen. Of course, it's perfectly fine to not support us monetarily. We understand not everyone can do that, but if you could give us a comment or like or share, something like that to help us in our battle with the YouTube algorithm, that would be swell and greatly appreciated. And what would benefit you is if you subscribed, because then you'll always remember to return to the source.